Welcome back to Large Man Abroad, everybody. Let's have a talk. I hate my job. It's not that I hate my job. My job's actually pretty good. I get to help people out, and that's a lot of fun. But at the same time, I find it fascinating that I have spent most of my time with people that I genuinely don't even know, right? And I spend so much time with these people that they have become family. And it's a strange feeling because they're not my family. They're my coworkers. And if they get fired, so I feel like I just lost a family member? Because sometimes that's kind of what it feels like. And with all these layoffs that have been happening over the past few months, a lot of people are going through that right now. A lot of people are going through the fact that the people that they're used to being around are not there anymore. And that has to cause some kind of trauma that no one really talks about. Because like I said, these people do become your family because you spend 8 to 12 hours a day essentially with these people day in and day out. Where you go home and you're with your family for what? An hour or two before you go to sleep? It's a strange second family that's almost like your first, except at the same time, you're not responsible for any of them, but you care nonetheless. I just had my kid, and the outflow of support that I've had from my coworkers has been awesome, and way more than I actually got from a lot of my family members. And hey, guess what? I'll remember that. I'll remember that. You're not getting the invitation to the cookouts. No, you are not. And does that sound sad? Yeah, it is sad, and I understand that. But I mean, with the degradation of the family, the fact that everyone's so busy, if you're not next to somebody all the time, it's out of sight, out of mind. And like I said, it's an unnatural thing for us to feel that way. So what happens to our country now, where so many people are experiencing this kind of loss, either from getting laid off after being at a company for years, where you've established these relationships with your coworkers to the point where they are family, or you're still at a place and they just chopped a bunch of people around you, and those people who were essentially your closest friends, even though you may not even call them friends, they're not even there anymore. And no one really talks about it, so we're all just kind of suffering in silence over this whole thing. Like I said, it's got to cause some kind of untold damage all throughout the United States right now. I'm having so many people going through the exact same kind of loss, while at the same time, no one even acknowledges it. And it all comes back to the same thing where you may love your coworkers, but your job just doesn't care about you. So don't care about it. I can see why so many people just go to work and just kind of phone it in and half-ass it with their favorite coworker, because that's your buddy, that's your partner in crime. They're the one that has your back. You spend a little bit too much time in the bathroom because you want to scroll on TikTok for like an hour and a half. You're always going to have that one friend who's going to cover for you. Say, no, you got food poisoning from eating bad Mexican food on Taco Tuesday. And like I said, those are great friends to have. And it sucks that the company can just be like, yep, they're gone now. So now that kind of support structure that you've been having for years now with people that you genuinely care about are just gone. But you're supposed to show up the next day, hey, business as usual. Yeah, that's not going to happen. People have to grieve a bit. And it's like I said, it's untold numbers of people, millions of people. Millions of people have been laid off. That would mean that the constellation of people around them. So let's say if 3.5 million people got laid off in the first 2 months of 2025, then that means that there's probably 10 people around them that they know and it affects them being there at work. That's like 35 million people just in those first 2 months who've been touched by that kind of loss. That's a lot of people. That's like 10% of the work. That's more than 10% of the total American workforce who've been hit with the fact that the people around them just aren't there anymore. And like I said, show up the next day and business as usual. In fact, guess what? Jimmy's not here anymore, so guess what? You got to kind of take the load while we look for someone else. And we're not going to pay you any extra. Just on top of the kind of grieving that you have and that loss of friend that you like to make jokes with, we're also going to double your workload now. Don't complain. Don't complain, or guess what? You're next, peasant. Like I said, you can't really care about these jobs anymore. And I think it's completely acceptable to go in and just phone it in and do what you have to do just to get by and not get fired. Because it doesn't even matter if you're like the top employee at these companies, they'll still just let you go for no reason at all. Like I said, it's you may be the best employee, right? You may have all these skills, but if they can push that off on somebody else, that means that they don't have to pay you anymore. So why wouldn't they do that? And the worst thing is that there's going to be people in the comment section here who are saying like, well, a business has to do what a business has to do. So it's like, yeah, what horrible people. They probably own a business and they're probably the exact kind of people that I'm talking about. Or worse, they probably work in HR, which are, because the fact is we all just want to have jobs and at the same time have some kind of social life. But if we're working so many hours that we can't have a social life, by God, at least let us have it at work. Let us have some jokes. Let's talk. Let's go be on the pizza party and actually get together and throw back some beers, have a good time with each other. Because we only got one life to live, and I don't want to spend the whole time being corporate safe. That sounds horrible. And no, that's not let it on my shirt. Calm down, you freaking weirdos. Because these companies have to understand, hey, listen, if you're not going to give us the time to be social, and you're also going to eliminate all of our friends that are at work, are you really expecting us to be like the most productive workers that we can be? Especially when you're not going to be giving us raises and things are getting more expensive. No, be less productive. Like I said, just do enough to get by. I feel like there's nothing really wrong with that at this point, because the whole system is designed to suck as many hours of the day from you as they possibly can, will pay you the least so you won't quit. Because 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck right now, and corporate profits are through the freaking roof. They're like record high year after year. And none of that's going to the worker. And you can say, hey, I got a couple shares of stock, so I'm really invested in this company. Yeah, but this company is not invested in you, right? The company is not invested in you. And that's what people need to realize. Because at the same time, while all these people are suffering from the job losses of either themselves or their friends, you're still going to have absolute stooges at these corporations who are just so loyal to the brand that they're not even willing to see when wrong is wrong. And these are the worst kind of people to work with, because they're the ones who will rat you out right away because you're not following company policy. But the company policy is for you to be a soulless human being who just sits in a chair and hits buttons all day. It's lame. Find a better way. Find a better way. Here, do what you can not to get fired until you can find a better way. Because we all have to find that for ourselves, and that's what it is. These jobs suck. Everyone hates them. I hate working. You hate working. I'd rather sit on my back porch, fire up the grill, and throw some chicken on there. That's what I want to do. I want to go fishing. I don't want to sit in an office all day. There's no reward in that. Not really, not when it comes to life. Do I want 70% of my waking hours to be at the office and I'm going to feel rewarded? No, I don't want that. I don't want that to be the most rewarding thing in my life, to feel like, hey, I did good work for someone else. I want to do good work for myself and for my family. And that's what everyone wants. That's why the goal should always be to start your own business, or at least get paid enough that you actually have hours in the day that you can still do stuff. But most of these corporations hate the 7-day work week. If it was up to them, you'd be working Saturday and Sunday. Why do you need a day off? You sit down in a chair all day. You're rested. Stop complaining. But no, I refuse. I complain. Listen, I love this country, right? And I actually like to work. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I'm fine with that. It's just how I am. I grew up dirt poor. Dirt poor, right? Broken home, all that kind of stuff. And it really built into me the work ethic that you just kind of got to get out there and do it, because no one's going to do it for you. And that's a mentality that I understand a lot of people have, but it's just kind of misplaced because they put all that energy into a corporation and into a job that does not care about them. You have to capitalize on the energy that you have and find a way to actually build something for yourself, build something for your family. You're like, well, hey, not all Americans can be entrepreneurs. Yeah, but have you tried? Have you tried? Have you at least put in the effort to see if it's something that you can do? Do you have a dream? Do you have a hobby? Monetize it. Gambling addicts have monetized online gambling. Trust me, my brother's about to start a channel. You can do anything. Ask the girls on OnlyFans. You can do anything. But again, we're past the time where we just sit back and work a wage job for 8 to 12 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week, and think that, hey, this is going to solve everything. Because what it does is put you in a position where you spend years with the same people, building family and camaraderie, and they're the first people to just cut them away and not acknowledge the fact that you just lost a bunch of people that are super close to you. These jobs suck. These bosses suck, and we shouldn't care about them. Don't care about it. Do your job, get paid, and get out. Do you have PTO, paid time off? You should definitely use it. So many companies and jobs out there tell you, hey, don't use your paid time off unless you really need to, unless it's a family emergency. That's not what paid time off is for. Hey, go live your life. The people who save up their paid time off and just like grind away for no reason and refuse to let themselves live a life always end up regretting it in the end. Why would you want to work that much? What? Because you can save up a little bit and maybe sell it back to the company? You want to sell your own paid free time back to your job? People who take your freedom every day? No, don't do that. Take your time off. Go on vacation. Go to NASCAR. NASCAR's great. Sports season's coming up. There's always baseball. But I mean, there's plenty of stuff to do. Spring's here. Summer's right around the corner. Go fishing. You don't know how to fish? Learn to fish. By God, just get a tent or a stick and some sheets and go into the woods and go camping. You know, anything other than going to work, because you have to let yourself do that, because these jobs, like I said, they don't care about you. And we're seeing that more and more as time goes by, and it becomes harder and harder for Americans or just people around the world to actually have lives and live their lives. And these people just constantly try to put the pressure on you and keep you there as long as legally possible. But yeah, don't do it anymore. Anyway, guys, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you here. If you're still here at this point, hey, like and subscribe. We have memberships. It's good times coming. Spring's here. It's nice. The sun's out. I got the vitamin D in me. But yeah, again, thanks for stopping by, everybody, and we appreciate the support as always. You have anything to say about this, you know, kind of gripes about your job, your work, you know, because like I said, a lot of people are going through this exact same situation right now. We're all kind of experiencing this loss from all these layoffs that are happening. Like I said, it's probably more than like 10 or 15%. Maybe at 20% of the country right now directly know people who've been laid off. And a lot of people are kind of going through this kind of grieving process absolutely silently. So reach out to people, talk to people, because that's what it's all about. We're all in this together. Lead with empathy, and just be the best person you can, and don't dedicate your life to your work. Don't give your life to your job. Have your own life, live your own life. Don't let them take it from you. You know, don't sell back your free time to the company. Don't do that. Live your life. That's what it's all about. Have a good one.